All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Sorry for my attire today. I was super sick yesterday and still feeling a little under the weather, so I'm just taking it easy today. So we're gonna go ahead and go through some products that I use. I also don't have any makeup on right now because I am planning on filming a foundation routine for you guys. So the products I use to do my brows are a spoolie brush, a set of scissors. These just come in like a nail kit. The e.l.f. eyebrow stencils, a little trimmer like this, tweezers. These are optional, just some little razors. And then for eyebrows, I'm going to show you some products that I really like. I like the e.l.f. eyebrow kit. This also comes in Benefit, the Browsing or whatever it's called. This is the Revlon Brow Fantasy in dark brown. It comes with the pencil on the end and then the eyebrow gel over here. The NYX eyebrow shaper. This is just a wax. You get this at Ulta. And if you're using powder, you're going to need an angled brush. This is from Real Techniques. There's a brow brush. And then everybody's favorite, which is the Anastasia Brow Whiz. And I have soft brown. I don't know where it is though. I've kind of stepped back from that from a little bit after doing my brush review because I found this little brush and I started using my e.l.f. brow kit again. So taking a little step back, but I do like the Anastasia Brow Whiz. I use that more for going out or for a weekend look rather than going to work. And I will mention a couple fails for me as far as brows go. This is the YBF Your Best Friend Automatic Eyebrow Pencil in Universal Taupe. It had a lid at some point, but I don't know. I got this from Birchbox and it was just way too dark for me. I'll use this every now and then, but I don't like this very much. And then the next one that I didn't really like was the Maybelline New York Define a Brow Light Brown Pencil. It has a little brush on the end. It was just, once again, too dark and way too waxy, and it kind of made my brows look really, really fake. So I didn't like this either. And then one more product, and I can't find it again, is the e.l.f. the actual eyebrow pencil. I did not care for that. Once again, it was just way too waxy. So the first product that I picked up were the e.l.f. eyebrow stencils. And I got these off Amazon. I think they were $3 and they come in a pack of like 4, I want to say. So I chose the eyebrow that most matched my natural eyebrow. Rules are that if you have a more round face like I do, then you want more of an arched and angled brow. And if you have a more angled face, you want more of a round brow. All right, so the first thing that I did was I found my brow stencil that matched my brow the most. And I took it out of here. It detaches like that. And I kind of did a little bit of a silly method. I took a bright blue eyeliner and I just put it on there and traced over that. And then any hair that was sticking out over that, that's what I plucked, and that's how I got the shape of my brow to begin with. Okay, and so if you don't want to use the e.l.f. brow stencils, I have another trick for you, and I'm sure everybody's seen this picture on Pinterest. It's just the Lauren Conrad with their little thingies like this. But there's really no explanation, so I'm going to explain this to you real quick. So if you don't want to use the stencils, you can use just a straight brush or pencil like this, and you're going to hold it up to the side of your nose, and that's where you want your brows to start. So anything past that, you want to get rid of. And then the next trick is to take this, and you're going to angle it with your nose, but you want it to go through your pupil as well. So a straight line from your pupil through your nose, and that's where you want your arch or your angle to be. So if you look here, and I'm just going to set it through my pupil right here, my angle is right there. So we're good there. And then the last part, you want your nose to line up with the edge of your eye right here, and that's where your eyebrow should stop. So after you have your eyebrow shaped the way that you want them, the first thing I do is I take my spoolie brush, and this is just the Ardell one, and it comes angled like this, which is nice. And I'm going to try and get as close as possible here so I don't poke my eyes out. But I'll start with this brow, and I will comb up everything. And as you can see, my brows are super, super long right now just because I wanted them long for this video. And as you can see, there's so many hairs up here that are longer, and I'm just going to take this, hold it, and trim the excess ones. Alright, so I'm just going to comb up my brows and then take the scissors and also do this. Make sure you're taking small steps at a time. You do not want a big hole in your brows from doing this. So one snip at a time, check to make sure that they're okay, and then just keep going from there. If you do make a mistake, you can always fill them out. They will grow pretty fast, but just keep a light hand. So I'm going to try and get in the camera here, camera angle. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push up my brows, and then I'm just going to trim them like this. And I can already see a huge difference. So I'm just going to continue to do that all the way down here. If you have really sparse brows right here, you might not want to do your tail here, but so I'm just going to continue to do those to my brows all the way around. Especially these front pieces here, mine kind of grow upwards, and I like that. And then they kind of angle this way, and that's kind of how I like it. My brows in the front are a little bit more sparse, and I do try and grow them out. They're just silly sometimes. And I will do these ones out here on my tail only because if I let them get too long, they start to angle and they look kind of silly. So this one is done. So I'm just going to continue to do this on the other side here. Oh my gosh, they're so long. And I always push them up rather than down to cut them because you want everything on your face to be higher rather than lower. That's why we always put a brow highlight underneath to lift them up, or you always put concealer under your eyes to lift them up, or you always put top eyeliner on more dramatic than your bottom liner because just putting bottom liner always drags them down. So we want everything to stay really, really high on our face, especially if we have smaller eyes. All right, now that my eyebrows are trimmed, I'm going to go ahead and start plucking all the hair underneath. And I have my brow shaped right now where it's I kind of want them in a straight line going upwards into that angle and then tapering down right here. So anything that's not in that straight line right there, or when I comb them up is kind of out of place, I will get rid of. Plucking is always the best part. They're not too bad right now. Like, I don't mind, like, a perfect brow. There's nothing the same as like there's no such thing as a perfect brow. So I like, or no, there's just such a thing. An overdone or perfect brow, I think, looks really, really fake. So I won't purposely leave hairs laying around, but just a few hairs out of place isn't that big of a deal. But any of these hairs that are growing like inwards here and look all crazy, I'll get rid of. And then I try not to pluck any too close right here. I mean, obviously you want to get rid of your unibrow right here, but try and let them grow in a little bit more than what they are. Ouch. And so I will usually pluck my eyebrows maybe every 2 weeks. I used to be really anal about it. I used to do it like once a week when I was in high school, but I'm not too bad about it now that I have a nice shape going to my eyebrows. And I will usually trim them. I have to say I only trim them probably once a month, even if that. Just when they kind of start bugging me. So there, that part is done. Yay. Alright, so the next part is completely optional. It's one that I do, but one that you're going to have to be super, super, super careful with. Take it slow. Don't just be careful. And so I have my eyebrows that come through that are the darker hairs, but then I also have these fine blonde hairs. And I don't necessarily like those. They kind of mess up with my makeup. Ooh, excuse me, I got the hiccups. So I will take either my little automatic trimmer right here, or you can just take a razor like this. Get these from Target. You can just shave those parts of your eyebrows, but like I said, please be careful. So I'm just gonna get rid of all those fine blonde hairs right in the middle right here. And then I'm also gonna take this and go slowly up this way and just getting rid of all those blonde hairs, and I can see them all fall. So I'm going to start filling in my brows now. Like I said before, they're a lot lighter than my dyed hair color, so I'm going to fill them in. And if you do have red hair, I don't use red powder. I think it looks kind of weird and kind of fake. So I'm just going to use my e.l.f. eyebrow kit, and this is in light. When buying eyebrow products, I always tend to go for the lightest color. If you go for a darker color and you're like, I mean, my hair is pretty dark right now, it always looks way too dramatic and way too overdone. So I do tend to go for the lighter products here. And I would say if you have black hair, you might want a darker product, but I mean, even for my dark red hair, I'm still going to be using the lightest color from the e.l.f. eyebrow kit. So I typically only use one brush at a time, but I'm going to show you how to do it with two. So this is the Real Techniques brow brush, and this is a lot thicker than the Ardell Duo eyebrow, but they're both angled, and I would say angled is where it's at. So I'm going to take the Real Techniques brush, and I'm going to fill in the first portion of my eyebrows, and then I'm going to go in with the Ardell and do the bottom half of my eyebrows, or the tail. And they say that you want to make your arch up here the darkest that it can be. A lot of people don't even bother doing their part right here or their tail. They just focus more on the arch, but since I do have lighter brows, I'm just going to go in and do it with my, do the whole thing. And so right now, as you can see, my e.l.f. is all busted, but, and I was mad when that happened, but I like to mix the two, so I have a lot of product over here, but I would just kind of sweep that around. And it is a wax and a shadow combo. And I would say the shadow is kind of a cool brown and the wax is more of a darker brown. But I'm just going to load up my brush here. And I always start filling in from the front here. And I like to start at the bottom here and make a straight line, as straight as possible. And then I will go ahead and do that on the top as well. And then just start filling in this front spot. When you use powder, it tends to be a little bit more natural looking. As you can see, there's not a whole lot of difference. I mean, you can tell that this one is a little bit more defined and a little bit darker. But I am going to show you what a pencil, and I think a pencil gives it more of a dramatic flair to it. So this is just the Revlon Brow Fantasy in dark blonde. Like I said, I tend to use the lighter products. And the same thing with this, I'm just going to start here and draw a straight line back. And then I will do the same on top. And then I will just start filling it all in, keeping a pretty light hand. And then filling it in darkest right here, and then tapering it off at the tail here. And as you can see, this one is a lot more dramatic and like weird looking rather than this one, which is a little bit more natural. And I don't mind the brow gel that's on this part. Brow gel. The only problem with this brow gel is if you touch your brows afterwards, they kind of get that waxy, matted down look. Big brows are so in right now. Even if you search for Cara Delevingne eyebrows, you can see she's a Victoria's Secret model. She just has these luscious, big eyebrows, and I really do think brows make a huge difference in your daily makeup routine. They can frame your face and really just put your whole look together. I have pictures of when I started doing makeup and I did my makeup really, really well, but I neglected my brows, and I just think if I would have done my brows, it would have made all the difference. Now, you don't want to go overboard with your brows, but neglecting them is still going to make them just maybe not even be there. So you really want to make sure that you're doing something to your brows, whether it's darkening them, filling them in, or just maintaining them by getting them waxed or doing them at home by yourself. Now, if you are worried about doing your brows, I recommend going to Sephora, going to the Ulta Benefit Brow Bar, I think it's called. You know, if you go to Sephora, they will pencil in your eyebrows. I think you could probably do it for free if you went there and said, hey, I'm looking for a new brow type of routine. What can I use? Can I see what it looks like? Just remember, the first time you do your brows and you pencil them in, they're going to look like extreme to you, and it's going to be kind of weird and kind of wonky, and maybe your husband or your boyfriend will mention something, but you will get used to them over time. You can always take it in smaller steps, maybe doing a lighter color and then moving to a darker color, or only doing your angled parts up. Just don't be scared of doing something new and taking those risks, because like I said, it makes a huge difference on your face. Okay, so that is it for my brow tutorial. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. By doing it this way, you do save a lot more money than going to get waxed and waiting for your hair to be long enough to wax, which would drive me crazy. So I just do it all by myself, save money, and as always, practice makes perfect, of course. Stay tuned for my foundation routine.